The 3 worst mistakes you must avoid if you want to eliminate social anxiety. Plus, one weird trick that targets the root biological cause of social anxiety. Did you know that most people wait 10 years before looking for a solution to their social anxiety? And the longer you wait, the older you get, the less your brain is able to learn or change. The fact that you're watching this video tells me you may have already reached a point where you feel your social anxiety is not going away on its own, or you fear it's getting worse and worse. That's why I've put together this video, to help you avoid the worst mistakes that keep many people stuck with social anxiety for years. Before I get to the tips, let me ask you a few questions. Do you ever get a blank mind around people? This makes you not know what to say in conversations, even leading to embarrassing, awkward silences. Do you feel very nervous even before you go into a social situation? For example, feeling really tense, sweating, shaking, or feeling your heart beating fast. Do you avoid talking to people, either by staying alone in your home all the time, or even hiding from people you know when you see them in public? Do you have imaginary conversations with people in your head? These are often people you're too scared to talk to in real life. Do you find it almost impossible to connect with people? This can lead to having no real friends and staying a virgin much longer than normal. Do you often feel very self-conscious? This means being insecure about the way you look, or being painfully aware of everything you say and do when you know people are watching. If you answered yes to most of these questions, then you should keep watching, because you almost definitely have social anxiety. So what's the deal? Why do you have all these problems? Is it genetics? A chemical imbalance? Was it the way your parents raised you? Imagine if you could become relaxed and confident in conversations. What if you never ran out of things to say? What if nobody ever called you quiet or shy again? Or imagine if you could meet new friends quickly. Better yet, imagine if you could stop feeling awkward and nervous, especially around people you find attractive. What if you knew what to say to someone you liked? What if you could finally get the girlfriend or boyfriend you desire? You will soon learn the little-known tips and tricks that have helped over 3,000 people overcome social anxiety in just the past 4 years. These little-known tips, tricks, and strategies that can help you get the confidence, friends, and romance you want. Don't believe me yet, just watch this entire video to the end. Warning, these tips may go against a lot of the advice you've heard before, but that's because most people don't know the truth about social anxiety. So here are the 3 worst mistakes you must avoid at all costs. 1. You must ignore 95% of the articles, books, and advice out there. The first thing I did when I was ready to get rid of my own social anxiety was type in "how to overcome social anxiety" into Google, and I read dozens, maybe hundreds of those articles. The articles tell you to stop caring what people think, but they never say how. And they never talk about your real problems, like not knowing what to say, how to stop looking nervous, or how to get a girlfriend. After a few weeks of reading the same impractical, unclear, and generic advice repeated over and over again, I came to a shocking conclusion. The people who write these articles and books never had social anxiety themselves. That brings us to the second tip. Number 2, the truth about pharmaceutical drugs. Big drug companies spend 19 times more money on marketing than basic research, according to the British Medical Journal. And here's another secret. These drugs will never, ever cure your social anxiety. The pharmaceutical industry has no interest in curing diseases. The eradication of any disease inevitably destroys a multi-billion-dollar market of prescription drugs. Therefore, pharmaceutical drugs are primarily developed to relieve symptoms, but not to cure. And sometimes medications do help people manage their anxiety by feeling better, but there's no permanent relief to be found in pharmaceutical drugs. To eliminate your social anxiety permanently, you need to get rid of the real biological cause of it. And that brings us to the third tip. Tip number 3. Social anxiety is not all in your head. If you have social anxiety, then you are an incredibly courageous person. You are amazing because nothing compares to battling with your own brain every single day. Other people don't understand how hard it is for you to do simple things like talk to someone you find attractive, or have fun at a party, or even get invited to a party in the first place. Others would often tell me, it's all in your head. They didn't understand that I had no control over how nervous, awkward, and quiet I was around people. I would never choose to be this way. The truth is that social anxiety is not all in your head, and you cannot just get over it any more than someone can just get over cancer. And even the most powerful drugs don't get rid of the problem, they only mask your symptoms for a little while. The real biological cause of social anxiety is, I'm sure you've heard of the fight or flight response before, haven't you? It's a fancy scientific word for fear. Social anxiety is fear at its core. You're afraid of people's eyes on you, of being judged, of embarrassing yourself, of making a mistake in front of everyone, of not saying the right thing. The way you feel before talking in front of a group of people is probably similar to what most people feel before jumping out of a plane. Fear is what you feel when there's danger in your environment. It's like an alarm system that helps you react quickly to threats. And that's why scientists often call fear the fight or flight response. It helps you to fight a danger or run away from it. And usually fear or anxiety is a good thing. Usually, fear helps you survive. But sometimes this alarm system in your brain gets programmed in the wrong way. This can happen through your genetics, through childhood experiences, or both. When this happens, your fight or flight response is activated even when there isn't any real danger. This is why you automatically start to feel anxious, nervous, and tense in normal, everyday social situations. So the bad news is that your brain has been accidentally programmed to feel social anxiety, just like a computer is programmed to work a certain way. This means no amount of trying to think or talk your way out of social anxiety will work. See, your fight or flight response doesn't understand psychology or self-help books. It doesn't understand when you repeat to yourself, what's the worst that can happen? And even though you're smart enough to know there's nothing to be afraid of, like other people probably tell you, you still feel this way anyway. No, social anxiety is not all in your head. It's programmed deep into the fear part of your brain, into your biological survival instincts. Now stay with me, because there is some big good news. If you want to permanently eliminate your social anxiety, you need to know how to reprogram your fight or flight response so that you do not feel fear and anxiety in social situations. Can you imagine how much better your life would be if you could quickly stop feeling anxious, nervous, and awkward anytime you needed before anyone even noticed? Can you picture how much easier it would be to talk to people, not run out of things to say, and stop being called quiet? If only you could feel calm and confident all the time. Can you see how much more your coworkers, classmates, or family would respect you? How much better you would do at your career, and how much more attractive you would be to the opposite sex if you could turn off your insecurities, shyness, and self-consciousness? In fact, what if I told you there is a proven way to reprogram your fight or flight response? A set of insights, techniques, and strategies based on cutting-edge science that can permanently turn off the socially anxious part of your brain, like turning off a light switch. Ready to learn more? Click the link below to read more and watch how the water bottle trick removes the root cause of social anxiety.